Hello everyone, and welcome to Fishin, the podcast where we discuss the Azorius' most competitive tribe and help the whole community become better Merfolk players. I'm Kody, one of the co-hosts of the show, and not Kody Smith on Twitter. And we have my continuous co-host, Matt. How you doing, Matt?
I've never been more proud of you. We got through this in one take.
Yes, that was something. That took a lot of doing.
We normally just kind of talk through the whole thing, and there's very little edit, I think. I mean, comparatively speaking to other podcasts. But when we start, Kody notoriously screws it up. So just super impressed.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
Like a pro.
It only took 67 episodes for me to get through it correctly once. So, but in any case, I actually went ahead and actually fixed the intro and the notes, and I just read it the way it was. So I didn't mess it up, because normally I just copy and paste because we're short on time. But this time I actually fixed it. So there we go. We want to make sure that you are listening to us wherever is most convenient for you. So we are on every podcast app, as well as YouTube. We're on the Apple Podcast. We're on Google Play. We're on Stitcher. We're on everything. I use Overcast personally. That's my podcast app of choice. And remember that just downloading the show is a great way to support us. Liking posts on social media like Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook is at fishcastmtg is a great way to support the show. And also just, rating us in those various stores and telling a friend about our show. It's also another great way you can support us. So we like to thank you for doing.
Friends are fun.
Yeah.
Fish are friends, not food.
So it's really great that you guys are helping us in those ways that are completely free. But you can also support us on patreon.com/fishcastmtg. For as little as $2 a month, you get the show a few days early and ad-free, as well as going to Inked Gaming to buy one of our neat t-shirts and playmats. I actually have a shirt coming for myself, so I will be able to explain the quality in greater detail. Just use the code FISHCAST10 at checkout, and you'll get 10% off and send 10% to your buddies here at Fishin. Oh,
yeah, you should do that.
And our tokens at Cardamajigs, because our tokens are awesome.
They really are.
Yeah.
I think I said like 2 weeks ago, it's like, just hit me up and I'll give you tokens. No one's hit me up. I feel like I'm not loved.
Well, we'll just go ahead and make sure to. That's why we're saying it at the beginning, so people can hear it. Also,
that makes sense.
Matt's.
Yes.
We have a preview card coming out.
We do.
Yes. On
how do you guys feel about kobolds?
Yes. The human menace is at it again.
I don't want to spoil too much, but there is a tribe coming back. It's an older tribe, and it might be the preview card.
It might
be. Do you
yes.
got eaters?
Spikes.
No. Eaters.
Eaters. Okay.
Summon eater. It's an old dark card.
Yeah, so we want to thank Wizards of the Coast for giving us this free preview card. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel on June 24th for that. That's where we are going to have our free free preview card from WotC, and you'll get to see it on the 24th. So yeah,
and I assume that we'll probably tweet it out too, right?
Yeah, we'll tweet it. I'm sure
put it on Hulu. We'll put it on a Goodyear blimp, all that kind of good stuff, right?
Well, probably not the Goodyear blimp, because that costs cash money. We probably won't.
No, it costs like $4 It's fine.
Okay, well then we'll do it. But
Goodyear's not doing very well right now. They need all the $Spacebucks they can.
I'm sure $Spacebucks. I'm sure JCPenney will still take $Spacebucks as legal tender, because they stopped taking "I'll be your best friends" a long time ago. So we didn't have any new patrons this week, but we do want to thank our patrons for continuing to support us. You guys are great. All of you,
all patrons,
and our Twitch subscribers. You guys are all super awesome.
Twitch people.
Yeah, Twitch people. So thank you all for continuing. Kyle, thank you for being a moderator, even though you didn't know you were.
Kyle guy's off. He loved Kyle.
So I let Matt go ahead and pick the random Merfolk, and in usual Matt fashion, he picked the last card. So Matt, you picked random Merfolk number 254. So what is it?
I regret this so much. Zingana Utopian Speaker. It is So it's a newer card. It's from the second block of the newest Ravnica. What's that?
Ravnica
Allegiance. Of the Upside Down Crown.
It's Ravnica Allegiance.
There you go. It's 1 blue and a green and 2 of anything for legendary creature Merfolk Wizard. When Zingana Utopian Speaker enters the battlefield, if you can control another creature with a 1/1 counter on it, draw a card. And it has 4 green and blue, so 6 CMC total for Adapt 4. And then each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it has Trample.
So it's like a beefy Silvergill Adept that's pseudo Craterhoofs.
I don't know. It's just boring. I mean, it's an okay commander, but there's better options for token commanders, especially in Simic. It's better as one of the 99. So, yay, you're a 1 of 99 in a commander deck that is a token builder in Simic.
I think
time.
I think honestly, is like a 1 of in standard. It's okay. 1 or 2 of. It helps break stalemates that you wouldn't quite get through.
Come on.
And honestly, in a blue-green like counters matters deck, +1/+1 counters matters deck. If you're not playing like a Traxa or something like that, like a really good +1/+1 counters commander, then this is like fine in the 99. It's fine.
At this point, I play literally standard. Whatever else arenas Jank is throwing at us this week, which that counters thing was kind of goofy, which this guy wouldn't even be played in my counters deck. This lady and Oathbreaker. Yeah, no. I know standard at this point. This is not one of the 99 standard. And Merfolk and standard, even as a tier 2, tier 3 deck, this will not make the cut. And you know that.
Yeah,
Stop
I said kind of. Like I could
Stop
see it.
lying to the people.
I could see it. It's not
Take
like
off your fish oil glasses and realize that she is an unimaginative kind of dud.
In Singleton, I would play
her. You know what the problem I have with this card? Because the card's really not as bad as I'm making it out to be. It is. It's really bad, but it's not that bad. It's like a D-list card. It's not complete jank. But it's just I'm so disappointed. Like Zingana was really cool the first time it got printed, and then it's just like womp womp. Like if they were gonna downplay the power level, I mean, it could have been like the Thalias from before. Like Heretic Canther is not as good as Guardian, but they're both still pretty good on their own right. This one's just it just feels uninspired.
Well, yeah, like I said, it like you said, it's not quite as good as the original printing, but it's fine.
This is the Kathy Griffin of Merfolk.
Okay, that's fair.
It exists. People know about it. Some people like it for whatever reason. I'm sure it'll show up on E eventually.
All right, so we're going to head into our main topic, or I guess a subtopic before we get into the main topic, and that is...
Is it a subtopic?
It's just a regular subtopic.
Is the random Merfolk the subtopic?
It's a recurring segment, I'd say.
Ooh.
Yeah. See? I got this podcast thing down.
Hashtag outline.
But anyway, so we're going to talk real quickly about cards that we are excited about in Merfolk from Modern Horizons. Now, Matt, besides Changelings, how many Merfolk were in this set?
I'm going to say 0.
That is correct. There were 0 Merfolk in this set, besides Changelings.
That's part of the reason why we're not devoting a whole episode to this, guys. Just FYI.
So there are a few cards that we do want to talk about that I think are either I feel like going to see play in Modern Merfolk or are or might see fringe play or at least will be tested. So do you want to start with the big hitter?
Yeah, let's just go for it.
All right. So Force of Negation is 1 blue for an instant. If it's not your turn, you may exile a blue card from your hand rather than pay its spell's mana cost. Counter target non-creature spell. If that spell is countered this way, exile it instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard. I love the flavor text. Try if you must.
It's just good.
Try if you must. So I think that this card actually has has what it takes to be a playable card in Modern. This helps I mean, because you can just tap out with this card, or you can keep up like 2 mana and you can trickster something and then force of negation a removal spell. I just think this card is great.
Oh no, it's absolutely amazing. It's really, really, really good. Um, I'm not sold on it being like the end all be all in Modern. A lot of pros that I've been listening to have been saying it's probably a sideboard card in most decks. So we'll see. But the fact that they are going this direction in Modern is very telling, and I think they did a dang good job when it came to developing this set. I think they did a great job making it feel like the time spiral throwback.
Yeah,
Well done.
And the thing about Force of Negation is basically it would only ever work in a deck that is like mono blue. That is it.
Yep.
So I mean, like we discussed earlier, like maybe it could be a sideboard card in mono blue Tron, but there really aren't. Besides Merfolk, there aren't decks that have enough blue mana to cast this.
All that mono blue Tron running around out there.
Yeah, and like I said, that's a corner case
All
scenario.
four of you,
best.
thanks for listening.
Yeah, but in any case, so Force of Negation, like I said, was probably a nod to like Merfolk and only Merfolk, honestly, because I don't see any other deck that would be like, yeah, this is a deck that you would test 4 of. I don't think any other deck would do
Azorius
that.
Control maybe out of the sideboard, but
Yeah.
probably not main boarded.
Yeah, definitely not. So what card do you want to talk about next?
I actually got a few. Can we just talk about the Horizon lands though?
Yeah,
Because they're just
yeah.
awesome.
All right, so the Horizon lands are the enemy-colored pairs, and these are based similarly to Horizon Canopy. That's kind of why we're calling them that, but also Modern Horizons, the set. So Horizon Canopy taps for.
I get it.
Yeah, see, it's kind of a double meaning. So like in this set,
Double entendre.
So one of the cards that we could possibly use in this set is Waterlogged Grove. So you can tap it, pay a life, and add blue or green. But the real good part about this card, number one, it comes into play untapped, so it's an untapped blue source. But you can pay 1, tap, and sacrifice Waterlogged Grove and draw a card. And so that's all of these. The whole series is, tap for one of either color, and you have to pay a life, and you get one of those colors, or you get to draw a card. So I think that these kind of help out Simic Merfolk or Swolefolk, as well as the Boltfolk variants. That
I about to say we had Jeffrey on last week.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks ago. We got to talk about our Is It Brethren.
Yeah. So and I honestly think Fiery Islet will work very well in Modern in Boltfolk, because sometimes you just get to that point where you just need that last card. And so I think that these will be great to test, at least the 2 that touch blue.
Yeah, it's just absolutely great. When Future Sight was originally released, all the cards that had that kind of goofy border, the reason they had that was those are the ones that were supposed to be printed in a future set. And the lands were all supposed to have their blocks finished off. We got that with the, what is it? The Garen Caverns. I can't remember what those lands are called. Filter lands? Is that what we call them?
The ones that tap for a generic, but you can pay 1 in a red to like tap for red, white, or white.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, those are the filter lands.
Yeah. So we kind of got those. We still haven't gotten a few of the others, the River of Tears version, and we definitely haven't gotten the your opponent gains life, like the Grove of the Burn Willows. And I think some of it is because some of the lands were just really bad, and then like River of Tears, and then some of them were just kind of too good, like Grove of the Burn Willows. I thought Horizon Canopy was always going to fall into the too good category, but the fact that they printed the enemy colors rather than the friend colors makes a huge difference, because it really limits the amount of decks these things can go in. Like if we had blue white and blue black, that would be insane in so many decks. But blue red and blue green really kind of make it pretty fair.
Yeah, and like I said, so it only really I could see maybe, obviously in Boltfolk or Swolefolk, but I could also honestly see a case for if you really were stuck on incongruity, the card from Ravnica Allegiance, and you wanted to play it in mono blue Merfolk, because you can pay the first part to search for a creature or land, and then the second part is the exile effect, the incubation incongruity card. So that does technically give you the green source if you do want to play it in mono blue. But I mean, honestly, it's just good to be able to just draw a card. You know, if you're, we've all had games like that where you're flooded on lands, and then you just go, all right, just going to cash this in and draw a card. And sometimes that can be the thing that ticks you over.
Yeah, no, these are great. I mean, we're going to talk about just this in Merfolk, but I mean, there's a lot of decks that are just licking their lips looking at these things.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, Merfolk is no different. We're definitely very grateful to have these.
Not nearly as much as other decks, but we're still grateful.
Yeah. All right, Matt. So what's a card that you want to talk about?
I wanted to talk about Scale Up, actually.
Really?
Because I think this is actually something that could kind of go into Swellfolk.
All right. Can you read Scale Up for us?
I threw you a curveball, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
So Scale Up is 1 green for a sorcery. Until end of turn, target creature you control becomes a green worm with base power, toughness 6/4. And then you can overload it, and essentially all your creatures become that. I think that this actually might be something that can kind of go into Swellfolk to really kind of pump things up very quickly and get some serious damage in.
That would be interesting. That is interesting. I like it. I honestly didn't think about Scale Up. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. So you can play your oh shoot, I'm gonna draw a blank on their name. Essentially the 2/2 for 1 green Merfolk.
Yeah, Kamena Speaker.
There you go, Kamena Speaker. Then you play him on 1. Then you scale up on turn 2. You swing in for 8 damage, so they're at 12. They fetch a few times, so they're at 10, 9 at that point. On turn 2, turn 3, and then all you have to do is kind of dink in for just a few more damage, and Swellfolk, that shouldn't be too hard.
I might have to try a few Scale Up in Swellfolk and see what happens.
I'm just thinking it might increase the clock enough on the opponent that I don't know, maybe it kind of caught my eye and just got me thinking.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm probably 100% wrong, but I don't know, maybe.
Well, it'll be interesting to try out.
Yeah.
Do you have any other cards that stand out to you?
I do. I have 2.5 more. Okay. So, and I know we didn't want to spend too much time on this, so let's run through them fast. I think I could put these two together: Flusterstorm and Archmage Charm.
Yep.
I think those are on your list, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Maybe not Archmage's Charm, but definitely Flusterstorm.
All right, let's talk Flusterstorm, and I'll give you my Archmage's Charm reasoning. Why I'm flagging that.
Okay. Flusterstorm, I mean, it's just good. It's an anti-storm card. It's good against control decks, that have lots of removal. So blue-white control. Flusterstorm is just a great card. I play it all the time in Legacy.
Mm-hmm. Again, and we're anticipating there might be a little bit more combo now with the London Mulligan rule. So having a Flusterstorm available might just be really good to have.
Also, counters things through a Chalice of the Void, so you can cast it even if you have a Chalice on 1. If they cast a spell, then you can cast it because the first one will get countered by the Chalice, but the second one won't. So it counters through a Chalice. Flusterstorm is so good.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Not mainboard good, but sideboard good.
So let's go to Archmage's Charm real quick. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up was a lot of times in Merfolk, I've seen you and Nikachu and a few other Merfolk players really try to get Cryptic Command in there. I think Archmage's Charm is a better version of Cryptic Command for Merfolk. Essentially because it's 1 less mana. It's 3 blue, and that's it. Not 3 blue and 1. And Merfolk is usually running a little bit less mana because your creatures are so low the ground CMC-wise, and you have the Aether Vials. So it is choose 1, counter target spell, target player draws 2 cards, gain control of target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 1 or less. Seems pretty sweet.
Yeah, I honestly don't think it's a bad card. Just to me, it was just how heavy it is on blue. you would definitely have to be, running a very, no Cavernous Souls land base. But honestly, I don't think it's bad. It's just it wasn't one that kind of jumped out to me.
I mean, were you playing the no Cavernous Souls land base when you were trying out your cryptics?
I've never actually tried out cryptics. I don't own any cryptics.
I thought you did.
No, I don't.
Oh.
I was going. It's a card that I've been meaning to, but honestly, I've only been playing like one Cavernous Souls anyway. It just hasn't. It's one of those things that for like the control matchup, it's good to find. But basically for every other deck, they're all playing Field of Ruins now. Field of Ruins and Ghost Quarters. So
fair.
Cavernous Souls is not quite as high on my list as I guess it used to be. But still, Force of Negation.
I mean, there's not much counter magic out there.
Yeah, sorry, Archmage's Charm. Yeah, it's only the dedicated control decks that are playing a lot of counter magic anyway. So they're not quite. Cavernous Souls is not quite as like a automatic 4 of.
Yeah, and this kind of goes back to the like the Force of Negation, is that it really can only play in a mono blue deck because you're so dependent on the blue that you need. But the fact that it's just straight up counter target spell, and then the fact you get to draw or draw 2 cards, that just seems really, really good, especially like mid to late game. So I think the gain control target non-land permanent with converted mass 1 or less is probably I don't know, more often than not you're never going to do it. But I mean, I'm sure there's niche cases where it's awesome. That wins you the game.
Yeah, you can get like a Noble Hierarch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few other 1-drops that, but that's the only one that comes to my brain. Anything else that you wanted to talk about before we go into our topic?
Yeah. So the last one that I just want to kind of asterisk as my half is the Snow Covered Island. The only reason is that there's snow matters just slightly. And I don't think it matters now, but I think we're going to be hitting a snow-themed plane here in the near future. All signs have been pointing to that, so just kind of keep your eyes open. Like moving to all snow islands might be a thing in the future.
Okay, so it might be time to pick up your foils if you're into that sort of thing.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yes.
Okay.
Because there's really outside of Snow Covered Mountain. I mean, there's really no Snow Matters cards right now in Modern or in Magic in general. But
there's the Dead of Winter, the black card.
I take that back. It's being kind of played now with some of the snow cards that are in Modern Horizons. But I mean, we'll see how many actually have staying power.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, but that's I think that's pretty much all of them except for the last one that we're going to cover, kind of in our main topic, which is Azorius Merfolk, and Azorius Merfolk is kind of something that's always been on the just on the fringes of playable, but I think with this one card that we're about to talk about, the deck kind of becomes playable, and that card is Unsettled Mariner. Unsettled Mariner is a white and a blue for a creature shapeshifter that has Changeling and is a 2/2. So Changelings, they have every creature type. So it's a Merfolk, it's a Goblin, it's a Spike, it's a Eater, it's everything.
Kobold.
It's a Kobold.
Ironically, it's not a Goblin though.
It is a Goblin.
No, it's not. It's in the flavor text. It's just in the little version that you can't see.
Oh, okay.
It's like the Santa Claus. You got to get your magnifying glass out.
Yeah, it's the Unsettled Mariner clause. So the ability.
If you put on his pants, you can't become a goblin.
The Unsettled Mariner's ability is whenever you or a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter that spell or ability unless its controller pays 1. And I love the flavor.
How many times are people going to forget the you? You'll always remember the creature and the other permanents, but like targeting the other person, that's going to be forgotten all the time.
Oh, I believe it. And I love the flavor text is the call of the sea shapes many souls.
Ooh, that's deep. That cuts deep.
Yeah.
I imagine some unstable shape-shifting mariner staring out into the watercolor painted sunset on the shores of Ixalan, or I don't know.
I don't know.
Call me Ishmael.
So I've actually gotten to play a few games, and if you're on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/fishcastmtg, you've actually
Why are you not?
Yeah, you've bore witness to me playing blue-white Merfolk with Unsettled Mariner. I'll even have my list in the show notes for this episode, so you all can see what the deck looks like. And honestly, I think Unsettled Mariner is the curse catcher we've always wanted, but never got.
Aw.
And it's technically a Merfolk, so it gets buffed by all our lords and gains Island Walk. And yeah, Unsettled Mariner I think is just great.
No, this is super sweet. We've actually been talking. I think we mentioned on the show a few times, but we've talked offline quite a bit about it. How Azorius Merfolk seems really, really close. I think the white in the sideboard is really going to help out the deck tremendously, but there was just never an excuse to play like the Wanderwine hubs and everything else. I think what we talked about in the past was if Stoneforge got unbanned, that might be enough to put Azorius Merfolk over the top. But I mean, here we are. I think this guy might do it.
Oh, I totally agree. And honestly, the white in the main board is only for Unsettled Mariner. So I mean, like you don't even have to put that much effort into getting like untapped white sources. So I honestly think that's the way to go, and then you can side in specific white cards that could help you. In my deck, I actually Ishton sent me a list that was similar to this, and I made some adjustments. And in his list, so we'll talk about the list. The list is pretty standard, but it also runs Chalice of the Void in the main board as just a kind of another taxing effect. So it kind of makes it super expensive and or impossible for our opponent to do anything. And then the sideboard is kind of where we have our extra spice. So it's running 3 Chalice of the Void in the main, and so I have the 1 in the side. 2 tech edges.
Real quick, can I ask a few questions before we go too much into the sideboard?
Oh, sure.
So since you're running the 3 Chalices and then the 4 Unsettled Mariners, in the what essentially is a traditional blue Merfolk deck, what got cut? That's 7 slots. That's quite a bit.
So what got cut is definitely the Master of Waves. So that's 4
Okay.
Master of Waves that are gone. And then we're also kind of shaving off. So there's 3 Deprives instead of 4. And then there's 3 Harbinger of the Tides instead of whatever that 4th creature slot was. And there's also 3 Phantasmal Image. So it's kind of like shaving 1 off of each of those slots for 1 each of the Chalice of the Voids.
Did you shave creatures for the Chalices then?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a little creature light compared to traditional Merfolk then.
That's correct. So 2 of the Chalices replace a creature, and then 1 of the Chalices replaces 1 Deprive.
Got it.
Now, if I was going to be, if I had the Pact of Negations or Pact of Negation, geez, I did that on stream. Force of Negation. If I had Force of Negations, I probably would replace the Deprives for the Force of Negations, just to test them out. I think that's the slot that they would go in.
I kind of disagree, but go ahead.
But in any case, so yeah, this is a standard Merfolk list minus those changes. And
I think the Chalices would be removed for those.
Actually, you're probably right. Yeah, I probably wouldn't run Chalice in that case, because that does also cut down on the amount of blue cards you have to pitch to it.
Bingo.
So that's probably, we would want to keep our artifact or colorless cards down to our lands and Aether Vial.
Yep.
All right, so in this list, the sideboard is kind of where we have our spice. Like I said, Ishton's list that he sent me had Rest in Peace in the sideboard. I just don't have any Rest in Pieces, so I use the standard Merfolk Graveyard Hate, which is Grafdigger's Cage and Relic of Progenitus. So there's 3 Relic of Progenitus, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, the extra Chalice that it's missing from the main board, 2 Tech Edges, which is good against mostly Tron. But then there's also a few corner cases where
Tron, the slowest deck in Modern.
Yeah.
Get off my back, guys. Get off my back.
We're also running 2 of Echoing Truth. Echoing Truth is just a solid card. I've been really enjoying it. And Alex Kahn, our Merfolk representative on the SCG circuit, has been really thumping his Merfolk Bible about Echoing Truth. He is all about Echoing Truth, and I'm all about it as well. So then next, I put 3 Path to Exiles in the sideboard. Which is good, but you kind of have to pick your battle between Chalice of the Void and Path to Exile. So I don't think that Path to Exile is quite the perfect fit for the sideboard, but I think there could be something else put there. And then the last is a pair of Thalia, Guardian of Thrabian. And the reason I put in Thalia is because this taxes the removal heavy decks like Burn and the Jund variants and Abzan variants. And also counter spells against control decks. So you would only bring this in against like control decks or removal heavy decks. But I think Thalia actually does a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm going to destroy your sideboard, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay. Well, we might as well talk about it now because, the only other thing to talk about is the mana base.
I want to talk about the mana base first because it is quite different.
Yeah, so I'm running 8 basic islands. 4 Mutavaults.
Best card Magic.
Yeah, 4 Mutavaults, which is standard in most Merfolk variants. I'm running 2 Wanderwine Hubs because you can reveal basically any creature in the deck besides Phantasmal Image to have an untapped blue source. And generally you're playing it that turn, so a lot of the time that I had a Wanderwine Hub, I'd play an island and then play Wanderwine Hub, reveal Silvergo Adept, and then just play Silvergo Adept. So you're not like giving them like a lot of information. So I don't think that, especially because this deck tops out at 2 CMC. So you're not giving them too much information by Wanderwine Hubs. And then I'm running a playset of Hallowed Fountain and 2 fetches. So I'm running Polluted Delta and Flooded Strand. Basically just the two that touch the colors of Hallowed Fountain. And honestly, I found that to be more than sufficient in most cases to get a white source when I needed it. And yeah, I think the mana base actually was fine.
I would play more fetches. I really would.
I just wanted to keep up the count of basic islands because of the high prevalence of Ghost Quarter and Field of Ruin online.
I get it, but if you play 4 fetches, I'd probably even play more than that. You can fetch out basic island. That there's nothing stopping you from doing that.
No, I understand. But
it just you're not gonna be playing too many lands of Merfolk anyway, and it's gonna help thin the deck a little bit. It's going to make when you need the white source more consistent. I'm totally cool with the 4 Hollow Fountains and the 2 Wanderwine Hubs. That's fine. But I think you could go down 4 islands and put in 4 more fetches and be completely fine.
I don't know. I think I disagree. I think the most I'd go is to 4 fetches, and keep a high enough count of basics.
Fine. Split the difference at 5.
5. Okay, we'll go to 5.
3 flooded. You know what? 1 of each blue.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. 4. So you do 1 of each that touches blue.
There you go.
Yeah.
And an extra Flooded Strand to make me right.
Yep. All right, so how are you going to destroy this sideboard?
Okay. First of all, I would keep probably nothing.
Okay. Tell me why.
Echoing Truth, maybe. So anyway, here's what I would do. First of all, the 2 Thalias I think are overkill because of what you have with on your main board with the new Mariner. I would be playing 2 Teferi Timebenders instead. I think the fact that if in your control matchups, completely shutting down the counter spells and on your turn, Path to Exiles and whatever they can do would really be impressive. You'd also get the bounce effect there, which gets you another card, which gets problem things off the board, especially things that you can't answer. So I think that would be much more efficient than Thalia, who's a little bit repetitive. I think the fact that you're not playing at least 2, possibly even more, Burton Forge Tenders is a travesty. For those of you who don't know, that's that Kithkin. It's 1 white. and it essentially gives everything pro red.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it protects you from lightning bolts. It protects you from Anger of the Gods, which can completely annihilate Merfolk decks. So I can't remember. I can't remember. Is it you have to tap one or just sacrifice them?
The
Oh, just
Teferi.
sacrifice. Yeah, it's him by himself. He's protection from red. Sacrifice Burton Forge Tender. Prevent all damaged red source of your choice would deal this turn.
For the Teferi, you said Teferi Timebender. Is that the correct one that you wanted? The 4 white blue for a 5 loyalty.
Oh no. What's the 3 one? The
Time Raveler.
Oh, I was in the ballpark.
Yeah. Sorry. I just wanted to make sure. I was like, Timebender. That doesn't sound good.
Well, it sounds better than Time Raveler. I think they got the name screwed up. But
yeah, well, they're
one.
similar. Yeah.
Yeah, the good one. Yeah, so the good Teferi that people are actually playing right now, not the garbage 6 mana cost one, but yeah, the Forge Tender, because that'll essentially protect you from your red decks. I think Ish is right that you need to play Rest in Peace rather than the Relics and the Grafdigger's Cages. The Grafdigger's Cage is doing nothing for you, except for maybe just getting out of turn faster. But even against the fast Dredge decks, I don't think Grafdigger's Cage is doing enough. But Rest in Peace is a lot more efficient. It's a little bit harder to get rid of enchantments. And you don't care about your graveyard anyway, so just exile it. Who cares?
That's fair.
Again, I maybe play some Ley Lines of Sanctity in there to, again, protect you against some of the burn matchups, your Amulet Titans, so you don't get Valakooted to death. That prevents you from getting your hand destroyed from your Thought Seizes and things like that. And essentially it's free with the London Mulligan rule. Mm-hmm. So I think there you have some opportunity there. And Stony Silence. Affinity is not as big as it used to be, but Affinity is still awful matchup for Merfolk, and Stony Silence completely shuts it down, and they essentially have no answer to it. So I think that would be a absolutely amazing add to this deck.
Yeah, and a lot of my decisions were based also on budget. So
yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those things that, unfortunately, I played with what I had, and those are all great ads too. I'm not taking anything away from those because you're right. I think that those are all good choices.
Yeah. Well, and essentially that kind of goes back to what I was saying: run more fetches, because if you have a heavier white sideboard, you're going to need to make sure you have that white available. So it might be even one of those things like run like 4 islands or 5 islands in a single plains too.
Yeah.
I think you probably should have a single plains in there no matter what, to be completely honest.
You know what actually would be a funny card to put in with a mono white deck? So I have one semi-serious one and then one that would be kind of just like a fun off the wall. So one would be Core Firewalker, which kind of used to see a lot more play.
Oh, absolutely.
But
I think it's a great idea.
So Core Firewalker is white for a 2/2 core soldier. It has pro red, and whenever a player casts a red spell, you may gain 1 life. Mm-hmm. So that kind of helps against burn matchups, helps against like the Izzet decks, the Phoenix decks, because they're casting lots of red spells. Keep your life total up is pretty good. And then another one that I think is kind of Return to the Ranks, which is white X, Convoke. Return X target creature cards with converted mana cost 2 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield.
That seems easy. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, because obviously we're only ever going to go to 2. And if you're late game and you've had your creatures trade off for a lot of things, that's a good way to just go like, all right, I get most of my board back. Yeah, and I think that would be actually a pretty interesting card, is Return to the Ranks.
No, I completely agree.
And that's
the only other funny one that I was thinking of is maybe Circle Protection Red.
Oh,
no one sees. I'm telling you, like you might be laughing, but I've played it in Modern before. No one sees it coming, and like it's an auto lose for red decks. Because they don't have any way to destroy enchantments, and they can't get around it.
Yeah.
Because not only does it stop you getting burned to your face, but it stops you from your creatures or from the creatures killing you too. It hits them from all angles.
Oh yeah, interesting. Huh.
And it's not like you won't have mana available, because you can sit there and just play the long game, because you can just wait for your Aether Vials to take care of the mana piece for you.
Yeah, that's fair. One last card I want to throw at you, just as I'm thinking out loud here, is a Runed Halo. It's white for an enchantment. As Ruined Halo enters the battlefield, choose a card name. You have protection from the chosen name. Might be something worth considering. I don't know.
I don't hate it. I really don't. Are there better options though? Is my biggest thing. So
Yeah.
I'd have to ruminate on that one a little bit. I don't hate it though.
Yeah. Well,
I wish it replaced itself. Like one, like choose a card, get protection, draw a card type thing.
Yeah, that might be too good though.
It's fine. Actually, the one card I wanted to throw at you, and I have it on my list, and this is actually maybe a one of main board, and maybe it's just me being a Johnny or a Timmy or I don't know, just a old guy who played in Lorwyn and wants to see this guy make a comeback. What about Sig? Our old river
Sig
guy.
River Guide. Oh man, yeah, we could run Sig, huh?
We really could.
Yeah, just run a one of Sig just for the lulz.
Well, it's not even just for the lulz. It's legit kind of good.
That's true. You can give a target merfolk you control gain protection from the color of your choice, so that can force through damage. In some situations, it can protect creatures from removal.
Path to Exiles, yeah.
Yeah.
Fatal Pushes.
It can also give that protection to itself.
Yep.
And then on top of that, with the Unsettled Mariners, with the kind of built-in protection, that's kind of extra value.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, yeah, maybe one of Sig River Guide would be interesting to throw in there. It also throw people off.
Yeah. That's one of the ones where they're going to look at you. They're going to look at the board. They're going to like just their finger's going to touch it and just pull it across. They're going to have to turn it around and read it.
Yeah, I think Sig River Guide could see a one or two of.
I don't know. Maybe cut one Phantasmal.
Yeah, that's fair.
For funsies.
Yeah.
For science.
Just for science. Yeah. I mean, you could actually run River Cutthroat too, but yeah, it'd be interesting. Sig River Guide.
I've seen people run River Cutthroat, and if you can get him actually going, he's really annoying. But I don't think he does enough. Whereas I think River Guide, especially combined with the Unsettled Mariner, would do a little bit more. And again, this might be me being just a fanboy, and I just like the card because it brings back happy memories from my childhood, aka college. But I mean, but it might be just a crappier version than a carpier version of Thalia at that point too. But it is a merfolk, so it does merfolky things and can get Island Walk and the 1/1 and all that kind of stuff. Very similar to Unsettled Mariner, whereas Thalia cannot. So I just talked myself back into it. It's still better than Thalia in this deck.
All right. Well, thank you for talking about this with me. Is there anything else you think about Azorius Merfolk? I think the deck played pretty well.
I love it. I think this deck is super sweet. Again, I've had tuna fish before. I like tuna fish, but I've had it for years. Tuna fish is tuna fish. You can't make it much better. We now have officially a McDonald's Filet-O-Fish sandwich, and I'm excited.
I don't know how you could be excited about McDonald's. That doesn't sound very good at all.
Okay, fine. How about a lobster roll?
Okay, that's better.
We have a lobster roll. I got something here that it's a little bit spicier. It has potential. It has real potential, I think. The biggest question I have is adding the extra mana in there for the white. Is that really going to screw up your mana base too much to make it unplayable?
I don't think so, honestly. It's just kind of like what I thought to put together, and just with my experience playing online, I just get lots of Field of Ruins. So my heart's been broken before. I just don't want it to break again.
No, I understand. Again, for realsies though, put at least one Plains in there.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I mean, you don't want to get Blood Mooned out of a game.
That's also fair. Yeah, I didn't consider that, but yeah, I think the deck plays really well. Modern is full of removal right now, so Unsettled Mariner, you're doing the Lord's work.
Ooh, speaking of which, maybe a Disenchant in the sideboard too.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, I wouldn't hate that,
honestly.
I
mean, White has absolutely the best sideboard cards. Just it does. I mean, I don't think there's much argument there. I mean, I'm sure somebody will argue with me for reasons. But
yeah, because it's the internet.
Because it's the internet. But in my opinion, at least, White has the best sideboard cards. So I think that could really help you out. Because and that's my biggest take away from Mono Blue Merfolk the way it's currently constructed is the sideboard doesn't. I don't feel like it's doing that much. I don't think it's pushing you over the edge or helping you out in your bad matches enough. Whereas adding the white in there absolutely does.
Awesome. Yeah, and make sure to check out the gameplay videos on YouTube. Both will be up by the time you can hear this, or shortly up. So you can check out how the deck played, and maybe if you have an ideas of what we should be playing in this deck, please let us know on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at fishcastmtg. Just tell us how wrong we are about our decisions, and because we love to hear it. Matt, do you have anything else you want to throw out before we get out of here?
I just want to say to everybody, make sure you show up next week and see us preview our antelope. I mean, our card that I will not.
Pangolin.
That is not an antelope.
But so yeah, just remember you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook is at fishcastmtg. Individually, I'm on Twitter as not Kody Smith. And Matt, where can we find you? I'm
on the Twitter at Matthew Caudell 8.
And
not giving away cards because no one's asking for them.
If you have a long-form question, feel free to email us at fishcastmtg@gmail.com. Our cover art was made by Tessa and Hunter Pruitt, and our logo and stream art was done by Ishton on Twitter, with our animated intro for our YouTube videos by Jake Boss MTG. If you like what we're doing here, please rate and subscribe in the Apple or Google Play podcast app stores, as well as find us on Patreon at patreon.com/fishcastmtg. Thank you, everybody, for your time, and we will see you all next week.
Have a good night, everyone.